Hi friends, it's Olivia here again at Philadelphia's Magic Gardens, and today I am going to talk to you a little bit about the Zagar Method, how the artist Isaiah Zagar makes his mosaics, and this is part of our PECO Family Jams series, which happens the second Sunday of every month, and right now we're coming to you virtually, and we'll be doing that for as long as we're closed, but we hope to be open soon and have everyone come back into the space. So like I said, today we are talking about Isaiah Zagar's Zagar Method, which is how he makes his mosaic murals. So all of these mosaics that are here at Philadelphia's Magic Gardens have been made by Isaiah Zagar with help from other people. But he's used the same method for many years, and he's developed that over the past 5 decades since the late 60s when he first started mosaicing, and he's done some different trial and error to kind of figure out these steps that he now uses to make the mosaics that we think of as Isaiah Zagar mosaics. So I'm going to take you through those steps today, and then in our other video I'll be showing you how you can make a small mosaic on your own. So the first step that Isaiah does when he starts is actually something he does before he ever comes to work on the wall. And the things that he makes first are called blobs, very technical. And I'm going to show you a blob right here. This is a blob, and a blob is basically a pancake of cement that is made flat on a table. Before Isaiah will come to the wall, he's making these pieces, and they're a way for him to incorporate three-dimensional objects that would otherwise be really hard to attach to the wall. So he is embedding them in the cement. So we can see there's a cup here, there's a ceramic piece, a lid, there's some mirror, there's some other tile pieces in here, but he can really put whatever he wants in these. And while the cement is still wet, he will put holes in there, which we see right here. And then this whole thing can be bolted onto the wall. So it's getting made flat like this, then bolted to the wall like this. And we can see some examples of blobs right here on either side of me. But there's all kinds of blobs. So if you're ever looking at a mosaic mural that Isaiah has made, you're gonna see all different kinds of blobs and with different things in them. So those get attached to the wall first, and then Isaiah is creating a really simple line drawing around those blobs. And this is very improvisational, so he's not coming to the wall with an idea or a sketch. He's really just coming to the wall with some sort of idea, and then it's mostly getting formed as he paints it on the wall. So we see some of those lines here next to me, right here. If you step back, you can see some right there. We can see the beginnings of some over here. And those painted lines are going to guide where he puts the rest of his pieces. They also usually have bigger pictures in them. So that's really where they come from, the lines. So you may be able to see next to me here, we have this blob face, but then we see the start of a body here. On this side, we have this head of a dog that's in the blob, but then we actually have the rest of the dog's body coming this way. We actually have a foot right here next to me, which continues into another body that we can't see in this video, but trust me, it goes down the wall there. And that's how most of Isaiah's mosaics are started. So once he has those lines painted on the wall, then he is starting to outline them with mirror. So that's another signature of Isaiah's style, is that he always uses these cut mirror pieces. Usually they're these really nice uniform rectangles, and they're just getting glued one by one right along those lines to outline them. So wherever you see a painted line, there will be a line of mirror going right along it. Now once that mirror is glued up, the next thing to do is to add the tiles. So all of these other pieces are tiles, and there's tiles that Isaiah makes, there's tiles that he gets from other artists, there's tiles that are just things that are recycled or left over that he is using in his mosaics, and those are added very randomly. So Isaiah's technique is one where he has his bucket of tiles, he reaches in, he says whatever tile you pick out, that's the perfect one. And wherever you place it on the wall, that's the perfect place. So there's no mistakes in Isaiah's process, which I think is a really good philosophy to follow in a lot of your art making. It often will make you much happier to follow that. And anything that you think, I don't really like this too much, can turn into a part of the art. It doesn't have to be a mistake. It can be a new invention. So once all of those tiles are glued up on the wall, Then Isaiah will let everything set for a day. So he's letting the glue dry, so those tiles are really nicely adhered to the wall. So when he comes back on the second day, that's when he's going to do the grouting. And the grout is what we see in between the tiles. So all of this really brightly colored cement that you see, that is the grout, rhymes with out. And grout is a cement and sand mixture that also has water mixed into it. And when Isaiah makes his grout, he's also adding really pure oil-based pigments. So that's how we get the really bright colors here, which is another thing that we always see in Isaiah's mosaics. So once the grout is mixed up, it has a consistency like cement or maybe like mud you could think of, and he just scoops it up on a sponge and then he's pushing it right over all of these tiles. And so it's filling in between all of those spaces, between the mirrors, between the tiles, and it's also covering over. So it's making sure that all of these tiles are getting combined into one piece of artwork, and it's making a really smooth surface. And the grout is what's really gonna hold everything together. So the glue would hold the tiles up on the wall for a while, but the grout is what makes the mosaic really strong. So once that grout is on there, it's covering everything. Then what Isaiah is doing is using a glove on his hand just to clean this off and make sure that all of the faces of those tiles, the mirror, are nice and clean. And then once those things are all cleaned off, just like we see them here, the very last step he's going to do is to come back and paint those lines in that he had originally painted on the wall a second time on top of the grout. So those are actually the painted lines that we see here. This is just acrylic paint that Isaiah is using to paint those lines in. And that is so that we can see his figures in the walls a little bit more clearly. So those people or dogs or whatever the drawing happens to be, it's a little bit easier to see it when it's not only outlined with a mirror, but it's also outlined with a painted line. So the next time you're looking at one of Isaiah's mosaics, whether it's a mural out in the street or it's one of our many murals here at Philadelphia's Magic Gardens, look for those bigger figures, think about those steps that he's going through, and that's the steps that most artists are taking. Isaiah just has a particular style that he goes through, but most mosaics are made in a kind of similar fashion. So thanks for joining us for our PECO Family Jams. Thanks to PECO for supporting us, and we hope to see you at Philadelphia's Magic Gardens soon.